beyond the skies. You and I, we're breaking bounds on Baobab.
Could you tell us about your business and a little bit about how you got started?
So it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Just a little bit background on how I got into business. My mother was an entrepreneur and she was in the microfinance space. So she was one of the pioneers to establish an institution that supported marginalized women in rural Kenya. So just seeing that, her passion and her commitment to see the improvement of livelihoods of women in the communities, it truly planted a seed in me. And I told myself, you know what, at a certain point in time, I'm going to start a business. On this other side, my dad was looking at my sister and I as we were growing up, as we transitioned into our professional careers. And in about 2012, 2013, he had a conversation with my sister and was like, the two of you have got such complementary skills. Why not set up a business together and leverage on your strengths? So my sister was the first one to step into the entrepreneurial space, and I joined her afterwards. So we co-founded our business in 2013. And her having a graphic design background, myself in media production, that's what we sought to pursue as a business. But as the years progressed, we realized that we were just doing everything and anything, and we needed to narrow down our services that we were going to offer our clients. And with that, we chose to now produce content for corporates, so banks, NGOs, or broadcasters. And with that, over the years as well, we saw that there was a growing demand for this content, and the pandemic truly validated digital content. And with that, we saw a growth in our business, now creating content for organizations who wanted their digital spaces to be populated with content for them to engage with their audiences and to establish relationships with their audiences as well. Then 10 years passed by, and sincerely for me, I started feeling unchallenged and unmotivated. And we got the opportunity to be connected with tech trainees through a Google project. And with that, we saw what can we do at this point in our business journey that will truly leave a mark in the industry. And we saw it best to start building an MVP for streaming African content. And with that, that started the journey of NW Plus TV. And recently, about 3 weeks ago, we launched, and it's accessible. If you have a smart device, you can just click on the link and you will access the African content that's on board.
Can you put the link in chat in case people want to go check it out? I think that would be great.
And it's done. I'll put it in
the chat. All right, awesome. Thank you. So interesting. So Muthoni, a distinction between you and Mavis is that you run a family business, and you run the business with your sister. And I was wondering if you could comment on the dynamics of running a family business. What are the challenges and what are the advantages?
That's a good question, because we usually get asked, how do you guys work together? And I think from the onset, we clearly knew what our strengths were, and we focused on our strengths, because one of the challenges that can come in when you're working with family is that you focus on the weaknesses and really drive in on the weaknesses and always argue and always complain about someone not improving, quote unquote. But I usually say, focus on the strengths. And with that, you're able to help this person, now my sister, or she can help me on my journey to improve on the areas that I'm weak. But I think it's such a powerful partnership if you can work together with family, because you're working towards legacy. You know, if you look at all these international brands like Toyota or Ford, they all started as family businesses. And at times we wonder how else can we contribute to our economies or industries. And one of the routes is to find whoever is within your family that you have complementary strengths and build on that. Of course, there are those moments where you will have your sibling fights, but you need to put on that hat when you come into work and just say, today we're professionals, and whatever is happening as a family dynamic, leave it behind or leave it outside of the office. And just focus on the mission. So our mission right now is to build this platform to be the go-to platform for African content. So when we do meet during the office or during working hours, we focus on that. And then we ensure that when we do meet over the weekends or during our free time, we're not talking about work, but we're truly finding out how each of us are doing as sisters, as community members, and really just ensuring that we have created clear boundaries and that there's no overlap. Each person knows what they're doing.
So interesting. So I heard you say, I think, three main things of number one, focus on strengths, not weaknesses, although in families there may be a tendency to focus on weakness. That be cognizant that your goal and your mission and your vision is to create a legacy for your family and have a clear separation of boundaries, clear boundaries on when it's work and when it's not work. That just seems like really good advice for our audience and really interesting. Really, really interesting. I have another question for you. So interesting about how you got started. Can I ask you, what is the biggest challenge you faced in your business and how did you overcome it?
Wow. I think the challenges are many being in business for all these years. That at times you're just like, which one do I pick? I think the one challenge that always stands out for me is around 2015, when we were 2 years in, you're trying to close sales, trying to pitch to clients, they're not responding, and you're not making any money, you know, and the business has to pay its own bills. You yourself as a founder have to make ends meet. So that was a really low moment in my life where, sincerely, I didn't know how to get from point A to B. And it was a very humbling experience where I had to have conversations now with my sister and close people around me and just say, what are we not doing? You know, what is it that we can do differently? And I remember going to a business coach session where, you know, he was talking about his business, but he used that opportunity to also train us and give us insights on how to improve our business offering. And I remember after the session, I was having a conversation with him. And within, let's say, 2 minutes into the conversation, he was like, Muthoni, you need to believe in yourself. And that really caught me off guard, because all this time I'm thinking, I do believe in myself. How dare he say that I don't believe in myself? But when I went home, I really took the time to really ask myself, what did he see in me that made him notice that I don't believe in myself? And that was an aha moment for me, because as leaders, if you don't believe in yourself, how else would the team follow you, or how else would your clients buy into that vision that you're trying to sell to them? So that was step one. Okay, Muthoni, you don't believe in yourself. So what can we do to start believing in myself? So I took the time to find online courses, improve certain skills that I needed to improve on, and also just talking to life coaches and just seeing what can I improve about my self-esteem. Because at times when we're on this journey pursuing our dreams, the failures can really knock us down and blow out the steam from us. where we just like, you know what, it's never that serious. I don't need to do this. But the first thing as a leader is self-belief. And with that self-belief growing, I now took that time to say, okay, fine, what's the business telling us? If it's animations that we need to produce more, let's do that. So overcoming the challenges was taking a hard look at my life and at the business and just pulling out the Band-Aid and just feeling all the emotions and just saying, how do we move forward from this point?
That is so interesting. It's so interesting. I put in chat, you guys, how many of you can relate? Give me a thumbs up. I mean, sometimes that biggest challenge is internal, you know? Wow.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Wow. People are responding and they're laughing. They're like, oh, wow. Can I ask? So unfortunately, Mavis is still not here with us. Can I ask you, like, how did you do it? Are there any like books you recommend, or what are some books that really helped you with that? Books or sources or people or anything you can recommend if anyone relates and they're kind of in that same space.
So, oh dear, I totally, it's just like yesterday. So if you see me just laughing and smiling, just, yeah, it's one of those moments. So I think one thing is to, as a business owner, what free courses can you find within your space that can help you, okay, understand cash flow, if that's one issue that you don't understand how to do business model canvas, basically just to understand what you're trying to offer to your audience or to your industry. Because at times we may assume that we want to offer, let's say, I don't know, educational tools to a certain community, but is it really that certain community? So just taking that time to figure out who is my ideal customer.
Yeah.
Because at times we are speaking to 10 customers when in fact you just need to speak to that one customer.
Yeah.
And going through such courses will help you to understand that. For me, I will always recommend The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, because it's about being okay, taking a journey that people don't understand. Because at times as business owners, we're seeking validation from people all around us. So if your friends aren't supporting you, oh my gosh, let me just let it go. If my family isn't supporting me, let me let this idea go. When in fact, it's just following that whisper and just continuing on that path and seeking how can you improve? How can you learn new skills? Also, because I have a background in media production, I also thought to myself, what skills have I learned over the years? So for me, it was voiceovers. So during my downtime, as I'm trying to look for new customers, can I offer voiceover services to other people so that I'm also using this gift that I have that comes innately from within and not just letting this gift stay dormant? Because also as entrepreneurs, what gifts do you have? It may be you're a good storyteller, you know how to write great stories. So is it creating a free blog and you're talking about whatever it is that you are talking about and then leading people to your business? Because sometimes we overlook the gifts that come naturally to us. And that's how it can help us grow and connect with new people in our networks. Yeah.
So helpful. So, wow, with such wisdom. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing that. My next question, so I'm going to sum up a little bit. What I heard you say is that you need to broaden and see like who is my target audience? Is this really my target audience? And what other gifts and what other skills do I have that I could draw on that's going to help reinforce what I do or connect me with more people. Is that when you started your podcast?
Interestingly enough, the podcast was started during the pandemic. Again, it was just myself, I guess also self-belief, because I had been toying with the idea before the pandemic. Should I start a podcast? I don't know, all those questions and doubts that arise within us, and we don't want to pursue the ideas that come our way. So during the pandemic, I realized I have so much free time on my hands. And it was a time that people needed encouragement and just inspiration. And at that point, I said, you know what? I can start today. So I looked for a platform that allowed me to record online and publish my episode immediately. Of course, my episodes were not of high quality. They needed refinement. But I think one of the things as entrepreneurs, or those who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs, where can you start? And it's always today with what you have. Because at times we complicate this journey. Oh, I don't have the resources. Oh, I don't have the network. But in fact, with whatever you have right now, you can start there. So for me, the podcast was my starting point. And I continued and I told myself, let's see how far I can go. And I'm grateful that at this point in time, I'm almost approaching 140 episodes. So to the individual who's listening right now, who's doubtful, you're saying, I don't have the funds, it's never about money. And it's taken me a long time to get there, where it's not about money. It's about what value do you want to offer your community, your industry, your space, the space that you're playing in, because people will always be drawn to value. So take the time to figure out, what is it that I can offer that people will always come back?
So helpful. You know, what did they say? They say perfection is the enemy of the good. We always think, no, it's not perfect. I'm not ready. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it when. And you're saying, no, just start it and you'll figure it out. I know I struggled with that. Let's move to our next question. We still unfortunately don't have Mavis. Let me come to my next question, which I love. Our next question is, what is your why? What keeps you going when things get hard? What's your why?
That's such a powerful question. And I think my why started off when I was a young girl, and I would wake up early to catch Sesame Street. And I would drive the entire household insane. Muthoni is up, she needs to watch Sesame Street, and she's going to watch Sesame Street. And I was really drawn to the different characters that were portrayed on screen. And as I grew a little bit older, you start watching other cartoons or other films. And I was always drawn to those stories and those characters. I knew there was a world in that screen. And I just wondered, how can I participate? How can I get involved in that space? So obviously I didn't have the words of media, entertainment, film, media production, but I just knew I wanted to be part of that world that I'm seeing on screen. And also when I started learning that there were award ceremonies that celebrated the top actors and top industry players, like the Academy Awards, I would also tell my mom, please tell me when the Academy Awards are going to be on. I want to watch. So from early on, I wanted to tell stories. And also as a girl, I was still am talkative. I can really engage people and tell stories. So my why was, how can I tell stories and be part of a world where characters can come alive and people can truly be drawn in when they watch a film? So over the years, I knew that I would come back to that space, but I didn't know how. So when I graduated university, I joined advertising. And it was such a great training ground because I learned how to brainstorm with creatives, understand how ideas come to life, how to pitch that to a client. Maybe it's a brand for washing detergent. And then now we come up with the idea of how to create a script, and then just seeing it alive as a full TV commercial, that really fascinated me. And I'm grateful for that entire training through advertising. Again, it really reinforced again my why, storytelling, being part of that world of stories. And then got the opportunity to be a local producer in a local production company. And again, creating the storylines, producing them, and seeing them on screen truly validated that why for me. And when the going gets tough, I think for me, I always reflect back to my younger years when I would watch these Academy Awards ceremonies and be like, one day, one day I'll be in that room. I don't know for what, but I know I'll be in that room. Or alternatively, just seeing a story that I have produced play on screen, be it on a local broadcaster, but right now it can play on a platform that I've built with my team. And that for me is such a, I don't even know what to call it. I'm still overwhelmed. I haven't really processed that we have a platform that can distribute content, but I'm just so grateful that I stayed on this path. Of course, there'll be more challenges, but that why of being part of this landscape of storytelling keeps me going.
So interesting. Maybe a little bit later we can maybe delve a little bit into this platform and the vision. But I want to, when we met last week with Muthoni and Mavis, and unfortunately Mavis won't be able to join us. She has an emergency, unfortunately. So sorry that she's not here. But you talked a lot about your advice to other entrepreneurs, how important it is to know your why. If you know your why, that's such a powerful foundation for your business. You guys in the chat, give me a thumbs up if that relates to you about how important it is to know your why and the impact that your business is going to have. It seems like it is, because people have such innovative ideas for their businesses. If I'd like to come back to your platform after, but I'm gonna go to my next question, which is, how do you balance? We're getting lots of thumbs up. That's so wonderful. How do you balance innovation with the practical demands of running a business?
The number one question that we ask ourselves every day: how do I innovate? How do I stay afloat? Oh my goodness. I think I'll use where I am currently, being at the point where we've launched and we want to stay competitive and we want to grow our subscriber base. And it's an ongoing question where we ask ourselves as a team, we want to be innovative and be able to compete with our competitors. But at the same time, are we going over budget? Are we earning as fast as we had hoped to? And one of the things that I'll use an example is right now we have launched and people can access our content through the website. But obviously, being part of a tech industry, the conversations that we're having with people is, when are you going to develop the app? Or is this website compatible with Android TV? And the question then comes to, do I have the resources to make that next step?
Right.
And as entrepreneurs, it can be very daunting when you don't have the resources to make that next step, and it's okay. But the question then comes, how can I ensure that what I'm offering currently is something that people can use, is something that people can engage with? So with your resources as a team, we say, okay, fine, this is where we're at. Innovation can come as quickly as we hoped, but with what we have, let's improve the user experience. let's ensure that we can bring on board content that can make people stay on board and continue being loyal customers with us. Because at times we can get so caught up on innovating, that you forget that there's a customer that wants to walk this journey with you. So as you balance innovation and operational costs, do you understand your customer journey? Are you with them at different touch points of their journey with your brand? So they get to know about you. How did they feel at that point when they got to know about you? Did they proceed to click that Google ad and click the next step now to access the platform? Because, you know, at the end of the day, it's the customer who matters. And we may be assuming that the next step is an app. Well, in fact, it's just they want to have a seamless experience with what is already existing. So for the entrepreneur who's balancing innovation and operational costs, with what you have, can you make that experience for the customer easier, seamless, and smooth, vis-a-vis focusing on innovation, and then along the way you lose your customer base?
So interesting. It's so interesting. And so for those of you who may have joined late or are missed our introduction, so Muthoni's company, can you share with us? I heard it described that your goal is to become like the Netflix of Africa. Am I overreaching when I say that?
No, you're not. It's good to have it out there so that we can work towards it.
Yeah, that's her goal. She wants to be the Netflix of Africa. Oh my God, what a vision. What a vision. Oh my gosh. And have that content that drives it. Oh my God, there are so many questions, but I wonder, Muthoni, if we should we open up the, I'm going to ask you one more question. What do you wish you knew when you started?
If I was told that it was going to be this hard, I don't think I would have, I don't think I would have started the journey. I would have said, you know what, let me just stay at this point that I'm at. I think that point I was a local producer at a production company. I think I would just have stayed there and just be comfortable at that level. But in hindsight, I think it's important that we embrace challenges and hardships, because that's the only way we can grow and truly see what we are capable of. Because at times it's very easy to stay in our comfort zones and say, I'm okay at this level. But the question is, there's so much that you are destined to do, but you will not be able to actualize what it is that you need to fulfill upon this earth if you stay on your comfort zone or in your comfort zone. So if I knew it was going to be this hard, I think I would have stayed at ground zero.
But that's not who you are. That's not who you are at all. So we're glad you moved on. We're glad you embraced.
It's important as well as entrepreneur thinking about it. Yes.
You broke up a little bit on my end. I don't know if it's you or me. Can you repeat the last thing you said?
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. I don't know if it was you or me.
No worries.
Yeah. So for your younger self, you would say, hey, you're going to have challenges, but you're going to overcome them.
Yes.
And it's all going to be good.
Yes, it will be. And then you reach the adult stage and it's like, actually, no, it's really hard. It's really hard. Can I circle back to where I started? But I think it's about believing in ourselves, embracing uncertainty and discomfort.
Yeah.
That's something that is part of the entrepreneurship journey. We have an appetite for hardship, for challenges, and for trials, but it's necessary so that we can truly actualize those visions that we foresaw before, or when we were children, or as time went by, we saw gaps in the market. Yes, it's us as entrepreneurs who bring those solutions into the spaces that we're in.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I relate. I'm a little entrepreneur. I have a private practice that I do, and I relate so much to some of the messages that you've shared. It's this is really inspirational for me. Um, and you know, embracing discomfort. Elaine just said that, and the dream and the goal in mind that keeps us going is so powerful. And for me right now, thinking, I'm getting a little comfortable. Maybe I need to push myself a little bit out of my comfort zone. And you know, and I've hesitated, and I need to maybe push myself a little more. Um, if we could ask, I think we can move to Q&A from the group. If we can see from our audience, if you guys have questions for Muthoni. And again, poor Mavis is having an emergency. She's not able to join us. It's too bad because it's her business is an interesting counterpoint to yours. But oh well. So for questions, does anyone have questions for Muthoni? You can put them in the Q&A or the chat. Let's see, I just looked in the Q&A. We have a question. How can someone start a business effectively without failing? This is from Gatme Nyalgate.
Without failing?
Without failing. How can someone start a business effectively without failing? And it maybe that thinking, maybe Gatme is thinking also like, I need to start a business, but I have to support my family and I have to have money coming in. And
Wow, I wish I could tell you failure isn't part of life, but I truly wish, but even if you had all the resources and you started your business, you would fail because maybe you didn't foresee how your customers would respond to your product, so you have to iterate. But I think failure is just a lesson. And the question is, how soon do you want to learn that lesson? Because at times when we face failures, it really knocks us down and then we stay down. But it's not about staying down. It's about, okay, fine, what's failure trying to tell me? What feedback am I getting from the market that can help me improve my services or improve my product? I will just use a point in time when we were now doing media production, where we were doing everything and anything. And again, we just had to take a hard look at what the business is saying, because cash flow tells you exactly what the business is needing or exactly what your customers are saying to you. So for us, we saw it was animations and corporate videos, you know, and it can be a bitter pill to swallow when you realize that you're not getting the TV commercials for the big brands in the market. But narrowing down to a consistent customer that's coming in. And for us, it was financial institutions that wanted content for their banking halls, for their social media. And that's okay, because then you have a consistent customer with you, vis-a-vis trying to find that one big deal that doesn't come through and you have bills to pay. So failure is feedback and it's part of life. So I wish I could tell you don't fight it, but embrace failure. Yes.
It's so interesting. I mean, thinking, you know, I can relate times when I was lost and things weren't quite going my way were really huge moments of growth in my career. And looking back, sometimes you see that of like, wow, if that hadn't happened, I never would have done X, Y, and Z.
Yes. Yes.
We have another question from Nick. He says, oh, I think Mavis is here.
Yay.
Yay. I think Mavis is here. Let's see if she can join us. She's joining. Maybe there she is, Mavis. I don't see. I'm not seeing her in my thing. Maybe while she's joining, we can ask you another question. It's from Nick. He says, the fact that you're managing a family business, how do you build your own venture or wealth? Or how do you separate your personal venture from the family business? Boy, that's interesting.
That's interesting. I'm hearing, how do I continue also pursuing my personal goals? And that's okay. I think it's having a conversation with your co-founders, if they're family members, and asking them, or maybe not asking them, but just saying, I have this idea that I want to pursue. But as you are having that conversation with them, make sure also that you have established what your responsibilities are within the family business, so that they also feel reassured that even if you're pursuing your personal venture or idea, that your responsibilities won't stop. Because I think sometimes why people get hesitant on people pursuing other ideas or goals is they're scared that you won't meet your current responsibilities. So have a heartfelt conversation with your family members and say, like, now maybe I'll use my example. I have a podcast. I'll be recording it, let's say, twice a week, but it won't interfere with my weekly responsibilities or my responsibilities within the organization. And just ensure that you establish, again, clear boundaries so that whatever it is that you're doing in the family business doesn't stop, but also continues, and whatever you're doing on your personal side of life continues. But also, let's be responsible, because sometimes we say we want to do X, Y, and Z, and we don't hold ourselves accountable. So we pass the blame to others. So let's say if it's a family business, you are supposed to attend the meeting and close a deal, but then now you push back and say, no, but I was pursuing my personal goal. No. Establish your boundaries and ensure that you're meeting your responsibilities.
That was a good question, because it highlights like why you said that. It highlights like that behind that, the why of like, this is why those boundaries and clarification of your roles are so important. Mavis is with us. I don't know if Mavis can turn on her microphone. I don't know if she's able to turn on her video. Mavis, welcome.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Mavis, you're joining us a little bit late. I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what your business is and how you got started.
Okay, so thank you very much, Elizabeth, and well done, Muthoni, for your presentation. Yeah, so my venture is May Afrique Fashion and May Afrique Fashion Academy. We are basically into the production of unisex African print clothing, where we use the traditional African prints we have to mix with the modern African fabrics available to crafts, clothing, complete wears, and also fashion accessories. And also I run an academy where I train young people, the general fashion skill, and also entrepreneurship and general business idea. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. One of the big questions we had, a lot of our discussion was around the issue of what is your why and what keeps you going when things get hard. I think there's been a lot of discussion of like starting your own business is hard, and you're going to have a lot of challenges. And so for you, what's your why and what keeps you going when things get hard?
Okay, so I think the first question you had how I started, what my business and how I started. So I think the why can take me back to how I started, so that we can have all that put inside. So basically, I have a passion in fashion right from my childhood, and I believe it's something that I built innate even without knowing it growing up as a child. I grew up with my single mom who had a fashion skill but never commercialized it. And I remember she used to do quick clothing for us to wear for occasions when the need arises, and then I could get to play with fabric pieces and other things back as a child. But growing up, I never saw it at a big space I was going to enter or even to do it full time. So growing up, I picked it as an innate trait, but I never pursued it in my general career as in growing up as a child. Courses I could study in school or something. So I find out within my university days where I joined an entrepreneurship training for 8 days sewing training, and my initial thought of joining that training was just to learn it for myself, just to something like a hobby, something I could use to just sew for myself. But it turned out to be something that everybody around me or my little community, my little circle I had at a time was always pushing me to do better with it, because any small thing I put out there, I could see people jumping on it. And then what I started doing earlier was to put together fabric waste together to produce t-shirt designs and fashion accessories for women, bags, and other smaller fashion goods, which was really, really selling even back at the university days. So you can see someone doing and studying other course and also sewing for herself, sewing for her friends, like doing other things, which was generating money small, small. Yeah, so I think I love it that way. And then also with the support and also the encouragement I was getting from my circle at that time really pushed me to know that, okay, there is something good. And if you really consider it or give it much attention, I think this could do. So fast forward to our final year in school, we were selecting places we could do our national service. Here in Ghana, after university, you have to serve for 1 year before you can go to the job market and things. So I remember those seasons, my friends were looking for big organization that could give them job employment after school. But here was me searching how to move to business right from school. People were looking for organization which could give them better job offer. But I was thinking beyond that, what's next? Like after the national service, after going to work for the bigger organization, what's next? Because unemployment is one of the major challenge we are dealing with here in our country. So after the national service with the bigger organization, what's next? What happens? Are you going to join the queue for employment issue? Are you going to adapt to the numbers of unemployment? Or you would want to be a solution to the problem standing now? So I think that's upon many deliberations, speaking to many mentors at that time, and also listen to my inner self, because I remember one key thing is after speaking to everybody or whoever I discuss my plan with or share my idea with, you see, this is what I want to do. Even though they will give you the advice, speaking to people who are already in the field, who are people who are entrepreneurs, they will tell you all the challenges, they will tell you all the benefits, they will tell you all the struggles and the things you need to know. But after every conversation, they will just say, you see, listen to your heart, listen to what your inner person is telling you, follow your passion, and that will be the only thing that will sustain you, because either way is not easy. Going to the corporate Wall Street, starting your own business is very challenging, but they are all rewarding depending on what the path that is crafted for, because I believe we are all different. Some people are born for some certain things, and you all can't do it because you think someone is doing it. So I think that was the turning point for myself. So right from school, I moved to do business, and I even did the national service with my company because I registered it in school before coming out of school. So I just had to report it to the National Entrepreneurship National Innovation and Entrepreneurship is a sector here in Ghana which gives entrepreneurs the opportunity to do national service with themselves as a way of supporting them, so they could also employ other people at the end of the day. So that was the big opportunity and the first step for me to come straight from school to do business. And it's been 5 years now, and it's been challenge upon challenge, and then it's been one opportunity to another, and it's been one celebration, like one win to another. Yeah, so it's a mixture of everything. There is a challenge, there is opportunity, there is a win-win every day. And I think it's one decision that if I'm given the opportunity to do again, I will sure do it here, even though it hasn't been all smooth, but it's been a journey that is worth all the struggle and all the process. Yeah. So we are still juggling it through, but then it's been very rewarding so far, so good. So I think that's been the journey with me, Afik. Yeah.
It's so nice because what you just shared really correlates with some of the main messages Muthoni had as well. If I could ask each of you, what are some things you've learned about leadership in your roles of entrepreneurship? What are some things you've learned about yourself and leadership and the importance of leadership?
Okay, so personally, I've learned a lot when it comes to leadership because I work with people. Like my job is mainly about people. The clients I'm working with, they are people, and in a way you are leading them because you present something to them for them to either accept or deny it. The team I am working with, they are also the major people I lead like every day. Right from school, I held so many leadership positions, and I thought I was doing so good with that. I share this most of the time that before I came to business, I thought I was the most nicest person. I thought I was the most thoughtful person. I thought I knew people. I thought I knew how to manage people so well until I came to the real world. That like I was facing the situations right every day. So I think leadership has phases, and we have leadership and leadership. Like we have leadership where you lead people from afar. We have leadership where you lead people from behind. So many ways, but I had gone through so many of them. I was the president for Mastercard Scholars at a point in UCC. I became the national vice president, but we were dealing with people occasionally, even though we follow up on them each and every day, but not to all of them together at a time. So when I came to business and I was working hands-on with people each and every day, you are leading a team every day to get to a certain goal. You have a mission or something that you want to achieve with people. It was a big challenge because your idea or your dreams that you are presenting to them, they are all individual people coming from different places with different backgrounds, with different ideology, thinking things could go their own way, but you think there should be certain ways that things can go and then work that way, and people don't see it like that. So the first thing that you have to know is the kind of people you are leading, what they have in their head, and what you present to them, how they can match that too, so that they can support you achieve your goal. So I think one thing I've learned so well is knowing everybody is different. If you are a leader, you should know your team members are different. So before you present even what you have to them, you should know what they have in their mind so that you can help them unlearn and relearn the new things so that they can help you achieve your goal.
Thank you so much. What are your thoughts, Muthoni?
Can I be heard, please?
Yeah.
No, me will meet in 5.
Okay.
Okay.
So for me, leadership, I used to run away from it, Muthoni, lead this project, Muthoni, do this. I'm like, no, let me just stay in the background. Let me just, camouflage and fit in. But then I came to realize you're not going to be of value if you are not stepping into the gifts that come to you naturally. So for me, leadership comes to me naturally. And I think for me, when a point in time when it was validated is when I did the Young African Leaders Initiative program in 2018, when I was in the space with other leaders from across East Africa. And I thought to myself, indeed, I'm not alone on this journey of wanting to solve the problems of Africa and truly impact my community. So with that in mind, it truly gave me the confidence and the skills to really say, you know what, Muthoni, it's time to step into this role as a leader and not be shy about it and not shrink back because maybe people have different opinions about me. Because, you know, being a leader, you are at the front line of your brand, of your business, of whatever it is that you're pursuing. And you get all the hits, you get all the feedback, opinions. And if you don't have a strong self-esteem, you know, you can crumble. And so one thing that I've come to learn is truly believe in yourself and work on yourself, as I had mentioned earlier, because truly people around you, your team, your clients, your customers, even family, can see when you are doubtful, when you have unbelief, and they can use that to their advantage, right? When people see that you don't believe in yourself, they start telling you things to ensure that you actually don't continue on that journey that you're on. So as a leader, believe in yourself and always seek to improve. Because again, we can get so caught up with our accomplishments, with what we fulfilled so far, that we fail to recognize that the one person that needs to improve is ourselves. Because if you are working towards a vision and you want your team to follow you, they can only follow someone who's truly, truly committed to their growth journey, because you're leading by example. Because at times we find ourselves, I guess, being in Africa where our leaders don't lead by example. And I think entrepreneurs are one of those leaders where we can lead by example and truly change the landscape of this continent.
Oh, what a wonderful way to end our webinar. Thank you so much for coming and joining us, Mavis and Muthoni. Such an inspiration webinar. Thank you all for joining us. You'll get a recording from the webinar. I think that may be helpful for you, that may help entrepreneurs and believing in yourself, and self-care is important for this. So we'll share some of those. What an inspiration. Thank you so much. We will see you next month for our next webinar. Thank you all.
Beyond the skies, you and I, we're breaking bounds